So this is definitely going to be an interesting night because we have no Josh. He's feeling a little bit under the weather, but we do got some invites out. Hopefully, we'll have a couple of people jump on later on. And until then, let's show them. So we are back. Like I said, I really don't have anything to talk about at all tonight. We were trying to get a couple folks on to do like a year-end review for manga and for or manga if you're in Alabama, and anime. Hopefully that'll work out soon. If not, we'll just kind of see where tonight takes us. And Bug and I sit here and talk about whatever we want to talk about. Let's say hi to a couple of folks right off the bat. Film Age Studios. I have got to stick your package in the mail. I will do that tomorrow and hopefully get it to you soon. I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been on vacation, been lazy all week long, but it will be headed your direction soon. What's going on, Mike? Hope you was able to get by the shop and get your prize that you won last week. I hope you enjoyed that. So, but other than that, what y'all got going on? Anything y'all want to talk about in the comic book world?
What did y'all get for Christmas?
Yeah, did you get anything good for Christmas? Was it good? Did you have fun?
I got a good thing for Christmas.
Yes. This one over here got a 9.8 Deadpool 13 Virgin variant with Wanda and Vision on the cover of it. So she was all excited about that. Yeah, we should have brought that. But you didn't bring it. So you did no show prep whatsoever. You're awful.
I know.
I know. That's pretty bad. I know. I did no show prep either. I very rarely do show prep. Well, I did read Sacrament number 5, which was the final issue in AWA's Sacrament series. They're so AWA does the whole thing where they do X amount of issues, then they'll take a couple months off, then X amount of issues and take a couple months off. I don't know if they'll be doing that with Sacrament yet. They pretty much ended Sacrament the way that it should have ended. If they do not revisit it, that is fine. It was a really good ending. It was a really good story, solid all the way through. So if y'all haven't checked out AWA Sacrament, I would definitely do that. That one was a lot of fun. I am going to see if we can get logged into League of Comic Geeks right quick and see what all I actually had come in this week. I've already been by the shop and got my comics. I just really and truly haven't read a whole lot. Been reading a lot of manga this past week. Almost completely caught up on Eden Zero, which has been phenomenal. If you're looking for a good manga title to check out. And I started reading Fairy Tale. So both of those are by Hiro Mashima. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. Those have both been really fun to read, and they've both been completely and totally different books. So let's just share the screen. Josh is actually feeling under the weather, not feeling too good. So he is taking a night off, getting him some rest. We will share the screen, and this is actually what I had come in this week. So I'm looking forward to see how they end Nice House on the Lake. Sacrament, that's what I was telling you about, the Sacrament right there. But let's see what else come out this week. See if there was anything major. Oh, I did pick up the Action Comics 1050, and I got to be honest with y'all, this was a straight up cover buy. I do like this Alex Ross cover, but the big thing about it is the way he drew Superman here really, really, really reminds me of the George Reeves Superman. And I remember watching that when I was a kid, even though it had already been out for years. I just remember that actually coming on Sunday mornings, believe it or not. See if there's anything else that big that came out this week. Naturally, we had a couple of Star Wars titles come out from the looks of it. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm really thinking they need to go ahead and stop their Star Wars run. Just stick with the main title and stick with Darth Vader. But if they're going to stick with the main title, they really need to up their game as far as that is actually concerned, because the main title has not been that good lately either. So did anybody pick up Murder World, Spider-Man #1 out of curiosity? So, and this is definitely going to be one of those shows tonight where audience participation is going to be a must. I really don't know how long we're going to last tonight. We'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, I do got a couple of invites out. Hopefully some of the boys can jump on later on. And if not, we're kind of in that funky time of the year where I know everybody's got a lot of plans, Christmas, New Year's, folks trying to get caught up on that. Yeah, I'm really not seeing, I really wanted to pick this up, but I didn't.
Trying to put my password in.
What?
I keep trying to put my password in.
We'll start jumping out of some of that and let's see if,
Haley Bieber.
yeah,
Nobody
whatever.
cares.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Tell them it's Haley.
So, you know what? Since Invincible Sonya was your only pickup this week, I just saw that, Mike. I have not read any of the Sonya titles. I know I've got some of them at home, but the ones that I picked up, what was his name? He did some covers on them because he was doing some of the covers on Vampirella also, and I believe he still does them. That his name has completely and totally drawn a blank. So I literally told Josh what he needed to completely and totally cure that, and he just blew me off. So it's kind of his fault now. We could have taken care of this with one drink.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is disgusting, but it'll knock it out in a heartbeat. Let's actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's jump to next week and see what's coming out next week. See what I have coming out next week. Oh, next week's going to be a light week for me. Yep.
Yes.
So somebody's excited over Look, I've told y'all that she read comic books. Perillo, you are correct. Perillo, that's who it was. I picked up some of those covers because I really enjoy Perillo's cover art. Dude is an amazing artist. If nobody's checked him out, y'all need to check him out. He is definitely, to me, he's kind of a throwback to some of the 80s stuff that they were doing, like Frazetta was doing with Heavy Metal Magazine. Also, some of the stuff he does, like, oh, Lord, what is her... yeah, I got that coming in too. She definitely liked that. But you had, so if anybody that remembers this from the 80s, you had Frazetta, you also had Olivia, you had Julie Bell, and there were a couple of others that really amazing artists when it comes to fantasy style art. And Perillo reminds me of those people. So if you get a chance, check him out. He kind of reminds me of a throwback. Oh, yes, definitely. Boris Vallejo. Yes, he was great. But when I told y'all that one of her picks was Fantastic Four, y'all just saw how excited she got over that. Definitely been first two issues have been solid. Can't wait to see what they end up doing with the Human Torch. Hey, would you shut that door, please? So we got family in the other room watching the movie, so I'm trying not to bother them. They're watching that Glass Onion, the Knives Out movie or something like that.
And it's Agatha.
And it was Agatha all along. I don't know. She's in the movie, so I told Bug it was going to be Agatha.
Yes.
Let's see what else is coming out new next week. We'll kind of jump from there. So it looks like we got Dark Knights is still coming out. Nick should be happy. We're going to have another Gold Goblin. Gold Goblin 3 will be out. I know he was doing everything he could to try to get a hold of that Gold Goblin #2 yesterday when we was up at the shop. Yeah, and this has been a really good series so far. I like the fact that pretty much issue 1 and issue 2 are both self-contained stories. I definitely enjoyed that. Oh, something that I did today that I have never done before.
What did you do?
So,
Was it stupid?
no, it was not stupid. It was actually kind of fun. I actually read Daredevil #1 from 1964 online today, and let me tell you what, for anybody that's ever read anything Stan Lee, you're going to know exactly what you're going to understand exactly what I'm about to say. It was definitely wordy. And there was a couple of things in there that I did not realize. So on the Daredevil television show and the movie that we had with Ben Affleck, he loses his dad and he gains his dad and he gains his powers and he loses his dad. He's like a kid, like say her age. But in the comic book, I did not know this. Daredevil was actually a teenager when he had the accident that ended up when he lost his sight and gave him the powers. And he did not actually, his dad was not murdered until he was in college. He was actually probably halfway through college, toward the end of college, and friends with Foggy when his dad was murdered. I did not know that until today. Thought I had something pop up there. I guess not. So, yeah, that one kind of surprised me a little bit. I was not expecting that. Let's see what else we have coming out next week. Joe Fixit #1 is coming out for anybody that's looking forward to that. This is Batman Night Watch. I have no idea about that one right there. No clue whatsoever. Oh, let's see. Josh is saying we need to read Danger Street #1. Was that on here for next week? Did I skip over that one? Or did that come out this week? Let's see. Here's a big one that Bug is looking forward to.
Yep.
Yeah, she's definitely looking forward to that one. And like usual, it looks like we got about 400 variant covers. That's not too bad, though. Oh, Danger Street #1 already came out, is what Josh said. Oh, crap. I went by too fast. So, let's see what we have. What about you, Bug? You see anything on here you're looking forward to other than that
Nope.
Scarlet Witch #1?
Nope. But we need to keep talking because Jacob's music is saying some words that don't need to be heard.
Oh, they can't hear Jacob's music over here. So it's actually kind of funny. Jacob is actually sitting on the other side of us. Actually, he just walked out of the room, but he's sitting on the other side of us playing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 online. So we're kind of all hovered up around the desk right now because honestly,
That really sucks.
I mean, that is a nice cover. Actually, I saw a couple of nice covers on there. Yeah, like I said, they're in there watching that Glass Onion Knives Out movie, and none of us really want to watch it. She thinks it sucks. It was decent so far. Yeah, I did read. There had a preview for it in the back of Sacrament #5, and this looks like it's going to be pretty good. I had read a little bit about it. I don't know what this is, but it looks like Daphne is holding Fred back from beating a clown to death. I don't know. That looks a little weird, but okay, we'll accept it. Where I'm looking, is the Trojan on here?
Emo girl.
What are you saying there?
Emo girl.
Emo girl #4. Yeah, and if anybody's looking into jumping into AWA books and trying to see what they're all about, we do have a new one that's getting ready to come out, this Trojan #1. And AWA, from the best I can tell, there is no shared universe anywhere, so you don't have to worry about jumping into the middle of something and not knowing what's going on. Third one on the right, scroll back up. We're looking for...
No.
Where? Oh, yeah, right here. So is this the one that I was thinking? Oh, yeah, this is... So I'm probably going to butcher this right here, what I'm about to tell y'all, but no, I can just read it straight off from here and not butcher it all. Once upon a time, we lived alongside legends, creatures of myth, centaurs, fauns, gorgons. Gorgon, yeah, upside down. Wait, Kelpies. Kelpies?
Kelpies.
We call it Kelpies or Kelpies?
Kelpies.
I mean, we are in Alabama, so I mean, what about Kelpies? Gnomes and more. They were spectacular, magic, powerful, peaceful, pure in comparison. I have to be honest with y'all, I have not seen a whole lot of stuff like this as far as fantasy is concerned from AWA. They've kind of gone out there and done a few things on their own, but once you start getting down some,
do you think it's based off the Trojan War?
no,
It would be cool though.
the grisliest corners of the dark web. Now we're starting to get a little more into AWA. If this is the one I was thinking about, I believe that it's one of those where you could. If anybody ever saw the movie Hostel, someone can actually go in and look. Josh is right. Kelpie pies, cow pies. We're gonna call them cow pies. You could actually go in, pay so much money, and basically do whatever you want to one of these creatures, mystical creatures, mythical creatures, murder them, whatever. It's, to me, it kind of come across as being loosely based off of Hostel. For anybody that's seen the movie Hostel, for anybody that's not seen the movie Hostel, I'm just going to say read up on it. I'm not going to go into that debacle. We could be here for hours unpacking the movie Hostel. It was a good movie. It's one of the only movies that ever actually made me cringe because of one scene. It was a phenomenal scene. And when I say cringe, it was one of those where I went, oh, stop it. Don't show that. It was pretty gnarly. So let's jump back over here to next week. We were, see what else we had coming out. Yeah, there was the Trojan.
Jacob does not know how to pick out good music.
No, Jacob's like all into that new rap crap that's no good whatsoever.
Young Gravy.
Yeah, Young Gravy. What is
the new Kanye?
Okay, so then, what about you? You've actually done quite a lot of reading the past year. What would you say would be your favorite book that came out in 2022?
No.
Well, I mean, look, we got some
connecting the dots on my arms.
Okay, so apparently she's going to be drawing her freckles. Hey, have my Coke over there, please.
I'm not drawing it.
You're not drawing. You are drawing your freckles.
I'm connecting the dots on my freckles.
So, what about y'all?
There's a whole difference.
And good evening to Sir John in Greece. What about y'all? What was something that came out in 2022 that y'all enjoyed? I was hoping to get and if you're watching, yeah, I put that evil on you. I hit you with that bad juju.
What?
One Mr. Justin Birch has had the opportunity to come on and give us the year in review for all manga. I told him this was his shot. Manga. I told him this was his shot, that he could literally influence the next generation of manga readers and get them interested. Manga. And no, it was something about my wife and daughters are home. Ooh. No, I'm just making fun of them. You go spend as much time with them as you possibly want to, because soon your daughters will be her age and it'll be a damn handful.
Yeah, apparently we get crappy around the age of 6.
Yeah, right after about 6 is when you stop being as much fun. You're starting to become fun again, though. Yeah, you're getting back there. So, you know, because I was kind of thinking about this earlier, and this was actually a conversation I was wanting to have live with Josh and talk about it and everything, you know, books that came out in 2022 that we, you know, really enjoyed and all that. And honestly, I cannot pick out just one book that really stood out in 2022 that she gets it from me. But I would honestly, I think I would have to say that my pick for 2022 comic book wise would probably be Nottingham. I have thoroughly enjoyed Nottingham. Did that actually start in 2022 or like you were going to Did that actually start in 2022 or did it start in 2021? I can't remember which. But either which way, in just about anything that AWA has done in 2022, they have done no wrong whatsoever. Actually, I could just do this right here.
Okay, so I just googled nerd movies that came out in 2022.
Okay,
I didn't know what else to name it.
Let's do it. What you got?
So I'm just reading off of a list that was on here. Winning Time: The Rise of the Lakers Dynasty. I think that's a show on HBO Max.
Oh yeah, that's a So Josh is saying the new Fantastic Four. Beastars. Yep. So yeah, definitely 2022 Nightwing has been great. Actually all three of those titles are must reads of mine right now.
Okay, and then The Batman with Edward Cullen.
Well, the Batman. Oh yeah, that was a good nerd movie that came out in 2022.
The Cuphead show on Netflix. We don't have that, so we can't watch it. And then Halo. I'm pretty sure that's a show.
Yeah.
On Paramount Plus. Morbius. I have a friend. He's at school. He's like really into Marvel and stuff. He said that movie sucked.
Yeah, I've heard like different things on Morbius. Some people loved it. Some people hated it.
He thought it was the worst movie ever. So, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We haven't watched that.
Yeah, whatever.
Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. We still need to watch that.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that one.
Tokyo Vice on HBO Max.
What else we got?
The Flight Attendant. Multiverse of Madness.
So
that was good.
But I mean, the only good thing about Multiverse of Madness was Wanda. That movie was proof that Scarlet Witch should have had her own solo movie. Other than that,
now because
yeah,
Multiverse of Madness kind of set it up for her.
There was just things about that movie that it was just kind of whatever. It was a typical Sam Raimi movie.
I liked the part where she murdered the entire Illuminati.
And I still have not seen it yet. The Black Panther 2. But my whole thing with Multiverse, close the door, please. My whole thing with Multiverse of Madness was it was a typical Sam Raimi movie. And to be quite honest with you, if you've seen Drag Me to Hell, you've pretty much seen Multiverse of Madness. I mean, they were so close together. I mean, it was, I don't know. There was just a lot of things in both movies that I saw that I didn't think that was great. What? No. I dare you.
It's the next one.
It was the next one. I dare you to come on the show and defend that because I still haven't seen it.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, Star Trek, Strange New Worlds.
No, it does not count as a superhero movie. And if you'll check IG, there is a link for you to come on if you want to. What's going on, Kyle? Evening.
And then The Orville, Elvis.
I never saw it.
I still feel like we should have taken Grandma to see that.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder. We need to watch that. The Gray Man. Oh, doesn't that have Chris Evans in it?
I think so, yeah. Nope. So here's the thing about Nope. I was extremely disappointed in that movie. I literally at one point I was just trying to finish watching that movie just to see see if I could stay awake through the whole thing. I didn't think Nope was that good. It really lost me there toward the end.
Resident Evil.
Resident Evil was actually really good because it was you could pick out a lot of scenes in the movie that was straight out of the original video game. So I thoroughly enjoyed that about Resident Evil because the first Resident Evil game is one of my favorite games of all time. Yeah. Isn't that right, Jacob? It's one of the greatest games ever played. And beats Rocket League hands down. Oh, I just got the evil eye on that one. Yeah. We might be fighting when this is over with.
DC League of Superhero Pets, The Sandman, House of the Dragon, The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power, Rick and Morty, Cobra Kai, Andor, Interview with the Vampire, 3,000 Years of Longing, Tulsa King. I don't think I pronounced that right, but who cares? Avatar: The Way of the Water.
So, Sir John, is that Is that manga or what is that? I still have not watched it. I have not watched that. And you know what? Here's a hot take. I thoroughly enjoyed She-Hulk. So all the haters need to get over it. She-Hulk was great. But I have not watched Andor. Moon Knight was decent. I've not been a big fan of Phase 4 so far. There's definitely some things that they could have done differently. I said She-Hulk was great. He's coming on now. yeah, we're about to get into it. She-Hulk was phenomenal. It was one of the best things Marvel's ever done. So much better than Captain America. Let's see how mad I can make him before he actually comes on the show.
No, you can't beat Captain America though. Big Glass Onion, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. I need to watch that.
Yeah, so the Guardians
didn't Rocket end up getting Bucky's arm though?
Yes, Rocket did end up getting Bucky's arm in the end. I need to watch it now. Yeah, Werewolf by Night was absolutely amazing. That was probably the best thing that they've done in Phase 4. And I did enjoy Moon Knight. I thought Moon Knight was very well done. For the people that I saw that, Josh. For the people that hated on Moon Knight, I don't think that they really and truly understood that Moon Knight was pretty much back crack crazy. So I mean, I like the way they did it. I like the way they portrayed him. I did enjoy the way that they introduced the Scarlet Scarab. I thought that was really good also. What else is on that list that you got?
The last one is Babylon 1.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of Babylon 1, so I don't even know what that one's about.
It was in that People magazine. I didn't read about it though, but it was in People magazine earlier.
Interview with the Vampires on here.
I already said that.
Yeah, you did say that, didn't you? I must have ignored you at that one.
I thought you were gonna say something about it.
Yeah, no, and that was actually really good for anybody who has read the Anne Rice novels, the Vampire Chronicles, the Vampire Chronicles. They were Interview with the Vampire, the TV show, was a little bit closer to the actual novels, so those were really good. There are some things that you kind of have to look past with the TV show if you didn't like certain aspects of it, but if I can tell you that they definitely took some liberties with some of the things that they changed around and the way some of that was done. The Interview with the Vampire, the second book is The Vampire Lestat. That's one of my favorite books of all times. So I am looking forward to see how they actually try to translate that when you actually get his backstory for anybody that's watched the TV show. And then to be honest with you, yeah, Queen of the Damned was really good. From that point on, they could probably jump straight to Blackwood Farm if they don't want to introduce a whole bunch of new characters and go straight to Blackwood Farm. In about a week, we do have the Mayfair Witches TV show starting up, which I am looking forward to that. I do thoroughly enjoy Anne Rice novels, so I'm liking the way that AMC has translated some of those novels to television, just by the way that they've done it, the visuals and everything, I guess so to speak, because for anybody that's read Anne Rice, the way she is such a descriptive writer and the way that she does it, you could actually, when she's describing the cicadas, you could actually hear it. I mean, she's so descriptive and just, you'd really have to read some of her books. I have not seen that one. I don't know what that one's really and truly about. Storm of the Century.
Never heard it.
Oh. So let's see. Its manga is just so specific. It focuses on the goon who protects women. From the cover, it looks like it's a fighting book, but most issues a girl has a breakdown and he helps her. Okay, cool. Ahoy. What else did we have in 2022?
Oh no.
Jacob, what was the best video game that came out in 2022? What was the best video game that came out in 2022 that you played? You're live. There's millions of people watching around the world right now, and you just said, I don't know.
That's sad.
Well, I mean, I'll put one spot here. Actually, there's 8 people watching. We got a good crowd. So, you got a new puppy? What kind of puppy did you get? Yeah, I mean, we need to know about the puppies. Oh, gotcha. That sounds familiar now. Believe it or not, I've been on vacation this week, and I've been watching all the spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef, and it's been great because they were so over the top. Oh, did you get Australian Shepherd? By any chance? Is that what we're talking about?
Australian cattle dog.
Yeah, because Australian Shepherds are smart. Some of the smartest dogs there is. And I just noticed this for
figure out Mama was pregnant before she told anybody besides you.
No, close but different. Okay, gotcha.
Hold on, how do you spell Australian?
Australian cattle dog. She's gonna look up a picture right quick.
No, I just need to know how to spell Australian.
Well, Australian. Long-haired and smaller. So I just ran across this. And Nottingham, yes, we know for those of us that are reading Nottingham, but
it's what Blue is.
He really looks like a cross between Taskmaster and Moon Knight here, and I love that. I'm going to have to try to track down that cover.
It's literally what Blue is.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, it's what Blue is. Our neighbors got 2 of those. I said I'm going to have to try to track down that cover. Or they did have to. Yeah. Basically, what I meant to say was Josh is going to have to try to track down that cover. Do it? Yeah, but Blue Blue is his name. He's a pretty good dog. Black and white Merle. Yeah, Blue is actually a very sweet dog.
So old though.
Yep. Yeah, that is a great Nottingham cover. I just happened to glance over and I thought, why is there a Moon Knight cover in the middle of Nottingham? And it says that one was the Delgado 3D Comics exclusive foil variant. So I'm sure that spec collectors ran that up to about $8,000. So would he be named after Dean from Supernatural? If so, don't tell my wife. She's got a huge crush on him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a great cover. I'm going to have to look that one up. I mean, was that one of those? No, I mean, it said it was some type of 3D cover. Regardless, it's a great cover. We need to try to track that one down. Yes, the cat's name is Sam. So, what are you gonna get? Who are you gonna name? Are we gonna have a Castiel or are we gonna have a Lucifer?
Cat needs to be
Lucifer. To be honest with you, I really don't care what animal it is, but ultimately, what are Sam and Dean without Bobby?
True.
Mm-hmm.
A lizard named Bobby.
Yep. A lizard named Bobby. Yeah. Have to give him a little trucker hat to wear all the time. So, he's named after my dad for sure. Bobby is the best. Bobby had some of the best stuff. I hate when they killed him off from that show. I was kind of, what was Bobby's friend's name? They hunted some. He was in a couple of episodes. Honestly,
perfect.
That is really good, but to be honest with you,
why a scorpion though?
I think it would have to be a pet raccoon. I think a pet raccoon would definitely be Bobby. Hat. Definitely be Bobby as a pet raccoon. But what was that one guy's name? He was friends with Bobby, and he was only in a few episodes. And I think at one point there was an episode where Bobby was in a coma, and he was on the verge of dying or close to that, and his buddy showed up, but he knew his buddy was already dead. It's almost like they're getting ready to have one last adventure together. Cannot think of his name. I was hoping we would have got a spinoff show of those. I still hope we was going to get that spinoff show of Wayward Sisters, but we never got that.
But what about that kid that was like, wasn't his name Jack or whatever?
Yeah, Jack ended up going on to become the new god and everything. Okay, I gotta look that up now because it's
driving me crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna drive me nuts.
Supernatural.
I think Supernatural would have worked great as a at least one movie. I didn't know that he was in Supernatural at one point.
Dan Wolfhard was in Supernatural?
Yeah, at one point he was.
Ooh, don't tell Cam. She'll have a fit over it. She thinks he's so hot.
Oh, please. He's not.
He looks like a young...
It's not even showing him.
Oh, that kid from, what's it called? Odd Squad was on Supernatural one episode. I don't know if I look like a young Kylo Ren. You can't tell me otherwise.
Rufus Turner. That's who it was. Bobby and Rufus. Yeah, we should have gotten some type of spin-off with them. Let's see. Fable is getting a movie adaptation about the assassin who tries to retire, but he gets recognized. Oh, I've actually been reading Fairy Tale a lot this week. Oh Lord, here he comes.
Speaking of fairy tales, talking about Top Gun not being the #1 film, not only of 2022,
He had to get dressed.
but since the dawn of film, is fairy tale. That is what fairy tales are made of. Lies like that. Because there was without doubt not a film that has ever been cast on a screen that can come close to the magnificent, the most glorious film that Maverick was.
So I'm guessing you've never watched a Clint Eastwood Western.
Clint Eastwood wishes he was Tom Cruise. All right, bro.
So I am so glad that you were like 4.5 hours away, because that lightning is about to come down hard, because you hurt baby Jesus's feelings with that one. Clint Eastwood is the man, all right? High Plains Drifter, Blondie. I mean,
He's not Maverick, bro. He's not out there. He's not out there flying these jets around, blowing stuff up, barrel rolls.
Outlaw Josie Wells would take out Maverick before Maverick gets anywhere near that plane.
Nah.
In fact, I've got so much faith.
Maverick's already in the plane. The F-14 is dropping bombs immediately.
Look, the only thing that the Outlaw Josie Wells needs is a half a cigar and a stick of dynamite, and he'll take out Maverick.
No.
Yep, he's taken out so many. That's all he ever had.
Have you ever watched a Tom Cruise movie before? All that man knows how to do is run. You ain't nobody catch a Tom Cruise. Once he gets that chest poked out and the legs get to moving, my man is gone.
Exactly, because his ass is going to be running from Clint Eastwood.
No, he's running straight at him. Straight at him.
And then right past him,
Miles Teller overhead in the F-18.
There you go.
Hey, I'm a short guy too, but that don't mean nothing.
So now that
What's
I
up,
do
Kyle?
want to see it, but we don't really go to the movies a lot to see them. Just
I
because
went-
of the time we get everybody together, load up,
Yeah.
and all that stuff. The last movie that we actually went and saw was Halloween Ends,
It was so stupid.
and it was so god awful.
It was funny though.
And you didn't see Matt? Dang. I saw Maverick on a Friday night, went home, got home at like midnight, woke my wife up, rented Top Gun, the original, made her watch that so I could take her to see Maverick on Saturday.
Very good. I'm gonna have to remember that one.
Hey, Avatar was probably my #3 favorite film of the year.
And you know, here's the bad thing about it. I could actually care less if I see any of the Avatar movies. The first one was good. I like
Yeah.
the effects and everything, but honestly, I think it should have been one and done.
I mean, it was always planned to be a multiple from the very get go. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed the second one. I thought it was awesome. I liked it a lot. There was definitely some plot hole issues, but I mean, overall, I thought it was great. As far as superhero films, to me, there's not a contest. Batman runs away with it, and the closest one to it is probably a number 5 spot. I mean, there's nothing that came close to me.
Yeah, I never would have thought that a Robert Pattinson Batman would
Nope.
be that good.
Me
I
and
mean,
Nick crapped on that from the get go.
I was the exact same way, and then I finally it came on HBO, and I recorded it, and then watched it one morning when everybody was asleep, and I was ready to wake half the house up screaming it's the greatest Batman movie that's ever been made.
That's
Um,
exactly what I said when I walked out of the theater. I couldn't believe it. I saw it 3 or 4 weekends in a row.
wow.
Because I saw it the first weekend it came out. I went with Deegan, the guy who did our exclusive, and John, who owns my LCS. And then I took my wife the next weekend, and then the following weekend, I think I went and saw it with somebody else. And then the following weekend, me and Nick and Justin were in Lexington, and so we went and saw it then, because we always try to see a movie because there's a big, nice movie theater right next to our hotel. So we usually see a movie on the last night. So we went and saw Batman that weekend. So I think I saw it 4 weekends in a row, and I mean, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
See,
I
Josh and
thought,
I were talking about it. It might have been last week or week before last. I can't remember which. For the second one that they're doing, I
yeah,
really want to see this younger version of Batman take on the Court of Owls.
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't so much care for the Court of Owls as much as I just really love Talon. Like, you know, I read that New 52 series earlier this year, like real earlier this year. So it's been a minute, but I didn't get as riled up about the whole Court of Owls themselves like everybody else did. But I thought Talon, like the original Talon that they showed, was an absolute phenomenal character. He immediately jumped to being one of my favorite villains that I've read. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. But I
yeah,
think that would be cool.
I think the whole thing about the Court of Owls would be that we would definitely get new villains out of it. We'll get something we've never seen before on the big screen.
Yeah,
And especially with doing a younger Batman the way that they've done, and even though Robert Pattinson's in his 30s or whatever,
yeah,
with Court of Owls, they could really set up something that could always be in the background for several movies to come. You know, I mean,
oh yeah,
they could help build off of the Court of Owls.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you know, since I'm just giving hot takes out here, you know, I Christian Bale I still think is my favorite Batman, but I think Pattinson's got to be my second. And I've always thought that um oh my gosh, I literally had his name in my head, Keaton. I always thought he was kind of overrated personally, and that was like when I was growing up, like that was Batman. You know, I've
Yeah.
got the movie, VHS sitting over here, but I just, you know, I thought the surrounding characters outshined him 10-1.
I agree with that. I see Keaton come out. I think I was 15 when that movie came out, 15 or 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm old. I really enjoyed, and you know, since you're throwing out hot takes, I'll throw out mine. I enjoyed Batfleck. I really did.
I thought he was good.
I thought that Ben Affleck has probably been the best Batman Bruce Wayne combo that we've seen. I think he did a great job with both of because you know they really and truly should be distinct characters, and I
Hmm.
think he did a good job with both.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought he did too. I think what I like most, I think that all these people that hate on the Pattinson Batman film are not taken into consideration the time period of that this movie's been filmed in, the time frame of Batman that we're getting here. We're not getting the Batman that is veteran Batman, you know, and they're not trying to do the Christian Bale, you know, go from being not Batman and just being Bruce Wayne to immediately he's just Batman in every way, does everything Batman does and makes no mistakes. Uh, you know, just immediately like we're getting to actually see the building of Batman here and the progression of Batman. You know, we get to see this dude taking huge tumbles off of a building after his squirrel suit fails on him and he hits a freaking sign or whatever it was he hit. I mean, you know, that kind of stuff I thought was really cool getting to see how the human side of Batman, because that's something that sets him apart from all the other superheroes is he's just a dude. And I don't feel like in all the other Batman films that they've ever really shown like that Batman's just a dude. And I like that about this one. I like that they started, you know, yeah, we kind of get an origin story again, but we're getting it in a way that we haven't before. And everybody kept saying like, I don't want to see the pearls, I don't want to see this, I don't want to see that. And I'm like, okay, well they didn't give you any of that, and you're getting upset because, oh well, he doesn't act like Batman. Like, bro, give it, like, you know, this dude's this is his first 2 years in as Batman, man. Like, give him he's got to have some time to work into it. I mean, you know, professional athlete doesn't just start out day one in the NFL straight out of college 9 times out of 10, you know, on top. You know, your everyday ordinary college kid going into the NFL or going into the NBA. They don't just, you know, sometimes it takes time for them to navigate their way and find their role and be able to make it work. And I like that they were doing that with this one.
Yeah, I think honestly, out of that entire movie, one of my favorite scenes was very possibly one of the simplest scenes they did. And it was when he was sitting in the floor and he was spreading the case out everywhere. He definitely nailed that whole obsessive detective aspect of it all. And that's one, to me, that's one of the reasons why the movie works so much, is because we finally got to see the detective side of Batman.
Exactly.
It wasn't just a run in with a cool car, beat the hell out of a bunch of people, save the day, and run out.
Yeah. Also, the best Batmobile of all time.
Yeah, that I got to give you that one. The actually just hearing the Batmobile back behind just roaring. I mean, just that rumble. Yeah, that was definitely one of the best one we've seen.
And I like the way that they took like the villains, and like this movie felt very believable. It felt very this shit could happen type movie to me. And with Batman, you know, outside of a couple cases, I mean, a lot of stuff within the Batman comics, you know, it's stuff that could really happen. I mean, you could really a lot of his villains. You know, he does have a lot of them that are mutated and have special powers and stuff, but he also has a lot of villains that are just regular dudes that are just nuts.
Yeah.
And I like that the Penguin, they didn't do him up. And I love Danny DeVito Penguin, but that was still very unrealistic, cartoony Penguin. And this guy, the way that they did the Penguin in this one, you know, it was like, man, like you could, like Colin Farrell looked like a dude that could just, you know, he could have just grew up looking like that. I mean,
yeah, and they did such a good job with him. If I didn't know that was Colin Farrell, I would have never known that was Colin Farrell. Between
no, not at all.
Makeup and just the way he did that entire character. Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. The Batman was definitely the comic book movie of 2022.
Yeah. And I mean, and a lot of people didn't like Black Adam. Nick and I both really enjoyed Black Adam. Multiverse of Madness, I think there was a lot of really good things in there. I think if you remove a couple of things, it could have been a perfect film. I really liked Scarlet Witch. I mean, she absolutely stole the show 100%. If
Yeah.
if she wasn't a part of that movie, then that movie is trash. You know, it's horrible. But I thought that like the way they took out the Illuminati, they really made Reed Richards look bad as a character. You know, the
Mhm.
smartest guy in the universe, and not only does he give up the only weakness uh, of your potentially your strongest teammate, Black Bolt, but then he just out of nowhere decides, you know what, I saw what she did to him. I'll just jump at her, you know, without any calculation at all. And I was just like, man, that's horrible. Like they just wiped them out immediately. And then you have these other two characters with Captain Britain, which she would have been the first to go. I mean, there's no way. Oh, let me do this. I can just turn me
Yeah, I was
sideways.
trying to figure if that was on your end or my end.
Yeah, I'm using my iPad and not my camera.
2025. I just got help to Reed Richards from what's it called? Multiverse of Madness.
So
I came across that like the other day on TikTok.
Oh,
There's like Marvel movies that are coming out.
yeah,
and
they a
like,
lot of
soon.
people are starting to say that Krasinski is coming back as Reed Richards. I don't think he is.
I don't either. And he's kind of led on like he doesn't think it's going to happen too.
Yeah, and I am borderline worried about what James Gunn is going to do with the DCU.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I kind of look at it as he's the Kirby Smart now. You know, he worked under the best for long enough. It may take him a couple of years, but at some point, you know, he if he's able to take that algorithm that he already knows so well and you know change a couple of things here and there to suit the offense that he has, then he may be able to end up asserting himself as the new top dog. So we'll see.
But, that first movie that comes out under his watch, that one's probably going to be the most scrutinized.
Oh yeah,
movie out of all of them, and that's going to be the one that sets the tone.
Yeah.
Him talking about they want to go with the younger Superman. Okay, cool. Let's go with the younger Superman, somebody that we can have as Superman for the next 10, 15 years possibly. But at the same time, who do you get? In my opinion, it's got to be an unknown. You just can't go any other direction.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and it sucked he got rid of Cavill, but the fact that it means Superman is still in the picture and very, very much in the picture is a good thing. I mean, because let's be honest, like Superman is the end all be all. And when's the last time he was treated that way on screen or in comic books? I mean, he's the guy and he gets no love in any form ever. And so that's something that I would love to see is Superman being Superman and getting that spotlight and making make Superman cool again. That's like when was the last time Superman was cool outside of people who just love DC or just love Superman? Like, my kid doesn't care about Superman. He knows who Superman is, but he could care less, really. I mean, he likes Hulk and some of these other characters more. Superman's not a character he really cares about. I don't think he's ever even seen a Superman movie or cartoon, never had any interest in it. And so if he can find a way to do that and make Superman cool, then everybody else is going to be cake. I mean, because all the other everybody already loves all the other characters. I feel like Superman is the one. Like if you can revive Superman, then I believe in you. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, not just that. I mean, I agree with exactly what you said, but whoever plays Superman, they're also going to have to be very careful with who they cast as Batman, because if those two don't have chemistry and if those two can't pull off the dynamic, then you've got, your entire universe is hurting at that point. You've got to have a strong Superman, a strong Batman, and a strong Wonder Woman. You've got to have all three for the DCU to actually be done the right way.
And I don't think I'll ever be able to
They're calling.
I don't think I'll ever be able to see anyone else as Wonder Woman but Gail. I mean,
Yeah.
just perfect, too perfect. I mean, I understand he wants to shake things up and completely change it all, but I'm like, bro, like, you get rid of Henry, all right, I can let that be. You gotta leave Gail though. Like, who are you gonna bring in that's gonna be better?
Once again, they got to go with the well. I mean, they went with the unknown with her. I mean, the only thing she had really done before this was the Fast and Furious franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think she had really done too much else other than that.
Mm-mm. No.
Now, I would like to see him at least bring in here and there some of the more obscure characters that DC has. That
Oh yeah, I'd love to see Deadman and
Spectre.
yeah, Spectre would be cool, man. Oh my gosh, that'd be
I
awesome.
would like to see Firestorm done the right way. I mean, even if it's a cameo in a movie, I would like to see him done the right way.
Yeah, I'd like to see an actual Scarecrow, like a terrifying horror film style Scarecrow.
Yeah,
that I would, and when I think of Scarecrow and the way that I would like to see Scarecrow, I think of when I was a kid, I had that PlayStation 3 Batman game, one of the Arkham Asylum games, and Scarecrow was a big part of it. And when he would inject you with the toxins, or when he would, spray the toxins or whatever, Batman would be like you're walking around and you're like having these nightmares, and like it was scary playing the game. That's what I think of when I think of Scarecrow. I'm like, that's what we need. The little nerdy dude with the mask, the bag over his head, like, there was parts of that I was like, okay, that's cool, but I want to see like a horror film. Can't let my 7-year-old kid watch this because they'll have nightmares. Scarecrow. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I know, and I think that was the first Arkham Asylum game where it's kind of like do what? Oh crap! It was almost like a platform style game where you actually saw your character kind of running across the screen when he was having that whole hallucination thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see that Scarecrow also.
Yeah.
There was a couple of others that I thought James Gunn would do really good at, as far as the characters were concerned, but I'm kind of worried that we're going to start getting just obscure crap like Polka Dot Man. I mean, I really hope he does not go the way of Suicide Squad with a lot of this, because I'll be honest with you, I was not that big a fan of his Suicide Squad.
Yeah, I didn't really care for it. Honestly, I didn't care for oh my gosh, what's the name? John Cena's show. Can't think of the name.
Peacemaker.
I didn't care for Peacemaker immediately. It took me a lot of watching to finally buy into that and actually enjoy watching it. But after a while, I was like, okay, like I like, it's cool. I hate the intro still. I know everybody loves the intro, but it just bugs the crap out of me. But I'm curious to see if they continue that on, because as popular as it was, I feel like if you kill that out, like that's just kind of like throwing money out the window. I mean, because people are going to keep paying to see that.
Yeah.
And I think John Cena is a terrible actor, but I mean, I don't know. I guess he's just such a goof anyway.
Did that offend you? Well, you know what?
As a human being and all the stuff he's done for charity and sick children, I have a lot of respect for him. As a wrestling fan, I think he's one of the worst ever. I think he was a product of right time, right place. There was nobody else, and he had the physique, and I don't know, but I never liked any variation of the John Cena character in wrestling at all, and I haven't really ever cared for any of his movies he's done. But the Peacemaker thing, I mean, that seems to fit him pretty well.
I tell you what, there was one time when when John Cena first got started, he was actually called Prototype.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he
had that goofy hair.
Yeah, and then they brought him up from that, what was it, OWA? Is that what it used to be called?
OVW.
Yeah, OVW.
Ohio Valley Wrestling.
Yep.
Al
Then they
Snow
brought
runs
him
that
up,
now.
and that was for the ruthless aggression era.
Yeah,
And he
he did
kind
the
of
whole
come
Kurt
in with an
Angle smack.
attitude and a chip on his shoulder, and it was like, okay, this, we'll see what the kid can do. This should be pretty good. And then next thing you know, he's rapping, and he looks like he should be backed up by Marky Mark's Funky Bunch. And it's just
Yeah,
kind of like,
they
yeah,
were
I'm
about to
good with
fire him. They were about to fire him, and apparently they were on a plane going somewhere to one of the events, and he was in the back of the plane rapping with someone, and then I forget who it was, but they convinced him that he needed to try to see if he could get that going on camera. And so he went to Stephanie McMahon in catering one night and talked to her about it, and she said, "Show me what you got right now." And right there on the spot, he was able to win them over enough to get them to let him try it, and that's the only thing that saved his job because he was on the chopping block. He did the whole thing with Kurt Angle for a little bit after he came in and smacked him and all that, and that was his debut on TV, and then just kind of flaked out after the Kurt Angle feud, and he was about to be gone. But I think, like I said, it was just a product of right place, right time. You had a lot of the bigger names were either hurt or going part time or whatever. So they looked to him, and he got over with the kids. I mean, that was the one thing with him. He got over with the kids, and by the time he was there, I was you know late teens, and I was just like, man, this dude's so cheesy, man. Like, golly.
He
Like,
was
if he
one of
wasn't
the.
so big, he'd get beat up in the locker room.
Yep. He was one of probably the only ones that could actually carry Vince's vision for the PG era.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And honestly, I literally stopped watching pretty
Yeah,
much
I did
about the
too.
time that started.
Yeah, I stopped
But
watching for a long, long, long time, and I
yeah,
don't
Mike
watch
had made this
anymore
comment
really.
about he's stiff as an actor. Well, he's kind of stiff as a wrestler too, to be honest with you. He's one of those. I think he's almost too big to be a wrestler at this point. And I don't mean like fat wise. I mean, dude's got some solid friggin' muscle on him.
Oh, not anymore. He's lost a lot. Like
Oh,
in
has he?
size wise, yeah, he's not quite half as big as he used to be, but he's definitely significantly smaller than he was in, say, 2015.
Well, see, I mean, that shows how much attention I pay to him right there.
Yeah, and the only reason why I say that is because I saw something a couple of weeks ago. I saw I saw an article, and the picture that they showed of him, I was like, holy crap, he's definitely not as big as he was. So, which I think for acting and his, mobility wise, and giving him a little more range to be able to do certain things, that probably wasn't a bad thing to do for sure. But we'll see. I'm curious to see if he ends up making another run or not. I never liked Roman, but I watch like the YouTube like clips and stuff, and every now and then. But pretty much the only thing I keep up with is what's going on with the whole Roman Reigns thing. I think what they're doing with that guy is absolutely the best thing that I've seen in wrestling. Period. And I don't know how long. I mean, I
See,
think
like I'm keeping up. Well, I'm trying to keep up with what they're doing with Bray Wyatt and Alexa Bliss because I think that just before whatever happened with him, Vince letting him go and everything, I think they were headed in the right direction. They just didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Because Vince was, how he is when it comes to storytelling. So I do want to see what they're going to do with that. But other than that, I keep up with AEW and New Japan.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever kept up with any of them, but I thought the Roman thing was cool. The fact that you got a guy that you literally you tried to do the John Cena force him on everybody, and it backfired so badly that everybody turned out hating the guy, and then you let him turn heel, which is where he obviously feels more comfortable. And I mean, he hasn't been pinned in 2 years, 3 years, something like that. And I mean, I think that the way he carries himself with the attitude and everything, and I think it's been real good. I think he's absolutely killing it. But I think a lot of the reason why Vince was so down on Bray Wyatt too is because the dude wouldn't lose weight, and I kind of agree with it. Like dude needs to drop some weight and trim up some. He's awkward looking. You know, he's got a big body, this big old gut, these little legs, and as well as he moves in the ring, I'm like, man, you could do a lot more and have a lot better mobility and a better look if you were to drop 65, 70 pounds. I mean, and for those guys, that's not something that would be hard to do. And, you know, I think that was something that Vince was probably pretty hard on, because there's been several guys that have ran up against Vince on that. You know, Big Show was one.
Yeah.
He almost got fired back in the day, you know, sitting in the back smoking cigarettes, eating cheeseburgers, and wouldn't lose weight and gaining all this weight and stuff. There was somebody else he let go because of I forget who it was. There was another guy within the past, like, I don't know, 5 to 8 years that I remember was a bigger dude that everybody liked. Oh, maybe Samoa Joe. I don't know.
It wasn't
No, it wasn't him.
Rikishi, was it?
No, because that was part of his gimmick. That's why I said it wasn't Samoa Joe, because that was part of his gimmick, you know, as far as being the Samoan. Same thing with Umaga, but maybe it was Tyrus. Is that his name now? He was the Funkasaurus guy.
I don't remember.
Brodus Clay.
I know he had issues with Keith Lee's size.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, Keith Lee. They at one point they were wanting to call him Bearcat Lee or whatever, and they ended up cutting him loose, and he's on AEW now. Which, to be honest with you, Keith Lee to me never really fit the WWE mold. He works better as I hate to say it this way, like glorified independent wrestler. Because to me,
there's a lot of that around.
Yeah, well, to me, WWE is nothing more than the flashy, glitzy Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey circus of wrestling. I mean, it's meant to be over the top and everything. Keith Lee is more of a realistic powerhouse. I mean, he's the guy that you want to see pick up the other dude and throw him out of the ring, over the egress, and into the crowd. You know, he's the more realistic wrestler. I'm not saying anything bad about the people in WWE. I mean, they obviously have skills just based on where they're at. But like when you start comparing the wrestling versus, say, like New Japan, man, there's people in New Japan that WWE's top guys could never touch in a wrestling ring. There's a guy in New Japan called Okada. Probably one of him and Will Ospreay, probably two of the best wrestlers on the friggin' planet. I don't think anybody in WWE could touch him as far as get in the ring and look believable, you know?
All my wrestling heroes have retired at this point. There's nobody left that I grew up watching or care about, really. So it's hard for me to even watch anymore.
Yeah.
But because I was like, Triple H was always my absolute favorite. Like, to me, he's number one. And if I have to make a Mount Rushmore, it's Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. I mean, like, that's my Mount Rushmore. Period.
See, if I had to do a Mount Rushmore, it would be, and just based on my age, it would be Dusty Rhodes, Nikita Koloff, Magnum TA, and Ric Flair.
Yeah.
Raylan dressed up as Ric Flair last year. You know that day where it was like dressed up as a celebrity or something? She dressed up as Ric Flair. She had like a feather boa and everything.
I like Raylan. Okay,
I got Boom Studios 9.8 Ric Flair.
Yep. So, I mean, all right, so what was since this is like the last show of 2022, at least for us, are y'all going to try to do one this weekend?
I don't know. Nick's coming down so we can do our Christmas deal with them. So we'll see. He'll be here Saturday. So I guess it just depends on how long that runs. We usually do our like best of 22. We'll like do a pre-recorded show and our best
Yeah.
top pickups and then our goals for 2023. But we've just been kind of slacking. And I haven't done my top pickups yet because I'm waiting for a couple of them to come in because I just picked up 2 this week that I definitely want to add. One of them's a pretty big book, so I was excited to get that one back and add it to the video. But yeah, I'm sure we'll do something. But what you got?
Oh, before I forget, if he does not forget, he is bringing you because I met him up at Haven yesterday for a while. He is bringing you that Mortal Kombat trading card I sent you a picture of, and he's bringing you a. I don't know why I had it, but it's a Spirits of Vengeance graphic novel that was in my collection.
Okay, right on, man.
I don't even read that, so here I'm just going to send it to somebody that I know at least enjoy it.
Yeah.
Or at least enjoy it in one time and pass it on to somebody else. But what was the biggest comic of 2022 in your opinion, or the biggest storyline? That as far as we're taking Acetate Gate out of it, I'm talking about actual comic book.
That's tough for me because that's actually something I've talked about all year. Is that I didn't feel like we had anything this year that I saw everyone universally talking about how good it was, like we've had in past years with stuff where I didn't feel like that I saw that this year as a whole from comics, at my shop, on YouTube, talking to people on Instagram and stuff. Like I can't think of anything that I felt like that I heard a whole lot of buzz going around about how good it was. I enjoyed Nottingham. And honestly, Nottingham's probably the last thing new comic book wise that I read this year. Everything else I read this year has just been reading back issue stuff, Silver Age and New 52 Batman and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I've talked about that several times that I thought it was strange. Like I know a lot of people talked about We Live for a minute there, so maybe that one, but it's hard for me to think of what I would say the biggest, as far as new comics, what the biggest thing was this year. What would you say?
At least to me, I think it was DC's return to solid storytelling between Tom Taylor and Chip Zdarsky. I mean, to me, those two are forcing the others to up their game.
Yeah,
it's almost like oh shit, we've got to keep up with them now type attitude.
Yeah. Zdarsky is another level. I mean,
so I think that DC's doing a really good job returning to storytelling. I think once again the market was oversaturated with X-Men books. I mean, I think we're just getting way too many X-Men titles. But I mean, if that's what people are going to buy, I can't blame Marvel for doing it.
And see, that's what I've always thought was funny, is because, and I don't want to blanket all collectors and readers in this statement, but it seems like for the most part you have Marvel fans and you have DC fans. Are you a Marvel guy or are you a DC guy? It's like, bro, I'm a comic book guy. Like that's what I say. But the Marvel guys are always like, I can't get into DC. All they print is Batman. There's like 500 Batman titles, and I'm like, bro, how many X-Men titles are there right now?
Yep.
Yeah, that's always been my retort. I'm like, dude, how many X titles are there right now? Like, it's crazy. And I'm like, at least DC is smart enough to say, hey, Batman's our biggest character. Let's push him to the forefront. What is Marvel doing with Spider-Man? Just pick any Joe Blow off the street to go write that book, and who cares if anybody likes it or not? I mean, at least DC's smart enough to
give me a turn.
Yeah.
I mean, I guarantee you, I could do a damn sure better job than that Beyond crap that they did.
I mean, I don't even read Spider-Man or care anything about Spider-Man, but I still have, I still can understand that, like, Spider-Man is your guy, and you guys do nothing with him at all. Yeah. But at least DC's smart enough to say, hey, people love Batman.
Yep.
We will put out 13 Batman titles a month, and they will all be purchased. because there are going to be groups of people who like this story and like this story and like that story. Yeah, everybody might not like everything, but all those titles are going to have fans because it's Batman.
As long as DC leaves Zdarsky alone and lets him do his thing with Batman, that's probably going to be their best book that they're putting out right now.
Yeah.
On the flip side of that, as long as Marvel leaves Zdarsky alone and lets him do with his thing with Daredevil, that's their best book right now. Dude, Daredevil is freaking amazing.
See,
I thought
I
about
love
you. I want to say it was 2 issues ago on Daredevil. He went against U.S. Agent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he flat took that shield from him. I mean, it wasn't even a contest. It was not a contest at all.
Yeah, one of my favorite.
Reading this.
One of my favorite titles of the last 2 years, and nobody talks about it. And I don't know how many times I've said it, but it's Stillwater, and Zdarsky absolutely killed it on that. I thought that was it is a travesty that more people did not read Stillwater, and I think what hurt Stillwater was it came out it was coming along about the same time Something's Killing the Children did, and it was at that point where it's just like people are jumping on Something's Killing the Children, and Stillwater just kind of got overlooked, and I think if Stillwater had come out at a different time than Something's Killing the Children and a couple of other things that were going on at that time, I think it might have got a more of a look from a lot of people. But if we're going to talk about comic series that could adapt to the screen, Stillwater would knock it out of the park. I would prefer to see Stillwater over Something's Killing the Children hit the screen 1,000 to 1. It was just the depth that series has, and stuff that wasn't even explored, and things that could continue to be written into it are absolutely incredible. Whereas I feel like Something's Killing the Children, it can only go so far until it gets to the point where it is now, where people are just burnt out on the same thing. You're bringing in a new character to do the same exact thing, and now you're doing all these branch offs and stuff, and it lost a lot of steam, and then you took the big break and it lost steam there, and nobody really cared for House of Slaughter, and now you got the Book of Slaughter, which I don't know if it's any good, but I really enjoyed Something's Killing Children for a long time. But Stillwater, that to me that's probably one of my absolute favorite things I've read since I got into comics. And Zdarsky, every time I read an issue, I made a post on Instagram, and I always thought it was cool. Chip Zdarsky would hit the like button on it every time because I'd tag him. It was cool. Yeah. My favorite thing I read this year has been Walking Dead, though, bar none. I'm still reading Walking Dead. I've got the omnibus now, so I'm actually reading it in the black and white instead of doing the color, and I'm still absolutely loving that series so much.
And so you and your brother have actually rubbed off on me. You know what I started doing this week? I have started Daredevil from the very beginning in 1964.
There you go.
And both of y'all have said something on either Babylon or like other videos that y'all have done. And I really didn't know what y'all was talking about until I read Daredevil #1. I was like, oh, they're all over it. Yes, Stan Lee is very wordy. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
And I was like, good God, Stan, give it a break, brother. I mean, we're going to get there.
Right. Yeah, and I had mentioned it to a friend of mine yesterday when everybody was posting all the Stan Lee stuff. I wish that I had. I mean, for many reasons, I wished I had gotten into comics earlier. But Stan died in what, 2018?
I think so.
Has it been that long ago?
I think it was 2018 when Stan died. So he died before I got into comic books.
Yeah.
And
really?
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't start collecting until summer of 2019.
That's sad.
See, when you get to be my age, when somebody says something like summer of this or summer of that, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh, well, that was just the other day. And they're like, no, dude, that was 10 years
I feel
ago.
the same way, dude. I feel the same way. But I knew who Stan Lee was, and I understood why so many people felt the way they did about him. But when I first got into comics for the first few years, uh, I didn't really have the appreciation for Stan Lee in that way. But and then when I started reading through the Silver Age stuff that he's, especially the Fantastic Four, in the beginning, I was just like, golly, man, how is this guy just keep doing this every book? Like the Thing walks into the living room, and then the Thing sat down, and the Thing got out 2 pieces of bread, and it would drive me nuts. But then the more I read, and the more I read, and the more I, you know, I think it's you have to adapt your mindset to that type of reading, and it takes a minute when you have been a modern reader for so long. But once you've adapted yourself to that type of writing and storytelling, it becomes it's like a switch just flipped on, and I was just like, man, this is incredible, man. The storytelling and the art and everything about it is so much better than what I feel like I'm reading in new books right now. And I finally got it. I finally understood why people felt the way they did about Stan Lee and the bullpen. And I know there's a lot of people that still have some harsh feelings about Stan Lee and taking credit where it wasn't deserved and this and that. But you know, at the end of the day, like, he's the greatest storyteller of all time. I mean,
See, one thing that I've really enjoyed about it, and it was something weird that I didn't pick up on until, like, I guess later on and start in some of the Silver Age issues, was you can definitely pick out certain words that you could tell was commonplace, whereas we don't use those words now,
Yeah.
whether it's a slang term or something.
oh yeah,
I mean, I thought that was kind of cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it's literally like
Absolutely.
stepping back in time. So I mean,
Yeah.
just reading some of that stuff.
Yeah, and then when you start reading letters from the fans that they put in the books and stuff, and you see people asking why Sue Storm is not used more in any of the parts of the issues where they're fighting. Why is she never a bigger part of the team when it comes to winning the battles? And why doesn't she have better powers? All she can do is turn invisible, and she never really does anything that has a big impact on the success of the team over the villain. And after you see that for a couple of issues, and then you get to FF22, and now she's got more powers, and from there on, she's a very pivotal part in the team, winning these battles all the time. And to see that you could write a letter into Stan Lee and the bullpen, and they cared enough about what the people buying their comic books thought that they implemented things to give them what they wanted. Whereas now, if you do that, you get some kind of message on Twitter, and they're going to call you a clown or whatever other kind of name they can think of that fits whatever you know they want to get out there to make you look like you're just a douchebag because you feel this way. It's like, yeah, excuse me, I'm only the one spending the money on your book. So that kind of stuff too. I really thought that was super cool, and it gave me an appreciation for those guys and what they did back then too, because those guys actually cared about their fans and the people that were putting the money in their pockets. Whereas a lot of these guys nowadays, like Donny Cates, could care less. I mean, I feel like they could care less. Sometimes the stuff they say and the way they act, I feel like it comes off as just like, I don't care. You're buying it anyway if my name's on it. So.
And unfortunately, some people are doing that. Oh, it's got this person's name on it or that person's name, or it's this variant cover or that variant cover, so I've got to go buy it. No, you don't have to go buy it. Like I'm reading Vanish right now. It's a Donny Cates book. Honestly, I think it's the best thing that he's done. Stegman is drawing it. I mean, and they do make a really good team. But the typical problem that we're going to run into with Vanish is a typical Donny Cates problem. How's it going to end?
Yeah.
I mean,
see, I enjoyed
phenomenal job.
Yeah. I went back earlier this year and read Crossover. when it first came out, I read the first issue, and there was some stuff in that issue that, and honest crossover number 1 is where the problems with Dustin and Donnie Cates came from.
Yeah.
Because of some of the ways that certain characters were depicted. I felt like he was just putting a blanket over certain people, and you know, if this is where you live and how you believe, this is what I think you are, and he put it in the book, and I'm like, okay, well, you know what, if that's what you think of me, you know, I'm not going to read your crap anymore anyway. But I couldn't help it. I had to go back, and it was probably I think it was like 2 or 3 issues from being finished before I finally jumped into it and I started reading it. And it was really good. I really liked it, but I'd never read the last issue. I still haven't read the last issue. I don't know how it ends. I'm like, do I want to go back and read the last issue and possibly ruin it for myself? Or do I want to just be like, you know what? Crossover was good. I didn't read the last issue, but what I read of it was really good.
Yeah, and say that if you get a chance to read Vanish, I mean, it's been, I think it was issue 3 just come out. It's been really good so far. I mean, it's like, I was shocked at how good it was, but even 3 issues into it, I'm already starting to worry about how's it going to end. You know, because at the end of the day, it's still Donnie Cates. And even and for those of y'all that don't know anything about Donnie Cates, we're not bashing him. Even he himself has said he can't end a comic book. He's not that good at it.
He poked at it. He poked at himself in it about that in crossover.
Yeah.
Like in crossover, he wrote, because he wrote himself into the book, and in the book, his character is talking about like I need to reread it, but somehow like his character is locked up in this prison, and he's writing the story that everyone is living in, and he's locked up until he finishes the story, but he's been locked up for all this time because he doesn't know how to finish it.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't I don't know how to finish it. And I'm like, all right, man, like I like that. Like, at least you know that, or you're patronizing in either way, like it's in the book, like, so you've at least admitted it. But yeah, I mean, and it's sad because the dude does so many things good. He does one thing he does really well is pulling from things that happened in like the Silver Age and the Bronze Age that aren't common knowledge, that you wouldn't even know unless you have read that stuff, or unless you start diving into why did this character do this, or why did that character do that, and then you go back and look and you're like, holy crap, like this dude knows his stuff with comics, and he's putting little things here and there, like the whole Donald Blake thing. Who would have thought writing Donald Blake into a storyline would end up being a good read, and it was great. So, he does that very well with trying to pay homage to the history in the comic books that he's writing. I think he does really, really well with that. You would think finishing wouldn't be that hard, though.
You would think. Now, have you kind of switching gears a little bit? Have you read the new Fantastic Four series?
So I haven't had a pull list in a minute. I still buy back issues and stuff from my shop, but I stay so busy anymore. I mean, I barely get to the shop maybe once or twice every couple months.
So at least pick up issue number 1, and the reason why I'm telling you to at least pick that one up, since you're a Ben Grimm fan, a Thing fan, that issue is all about him and Alicia. That is their story. That is their adventure. So you'll definitely like that. Now, for you being a Doctor Doom homer, you need to pick up issue number 2.
Okay.
Because it is Reed and Sue's adventure, but it plays a predominant role throughout the entire book.
Okay.
I mean, his presence is throughout, and it actually, to me, it put Doctor Doom in an entirely new spotlight, which I thought was really good. And I don't know what to tell you about issue 3. It comes out next week. So yeah, the first 2 issues, I think you would love them. I really do.
Okay. I'll try to check them out then. Yeah, I want to get into some more Doom stories this year. I want to read the 2015 Secret Wars. I want to read the Doom War stuff. I almost thought about picking up that Book of Doom omnibus and just reading through that.
Yeah.
I think that would probably be the easiest thing to do. Um, I kind of took a hiatus from the Fantastic Four reading for now, just because I've been itching to getting back into Walking Dead, and I can focus on reading more than one thing at a time. So where I've gotten to in Fantastic Four, Doom he hasn't done any real Doom type stuff yet.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like itching to get into like more of the really good stories where he shows how powerful he is and how really evil he really can be and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I
See,
may end up getting that Book of Doom for that.
yeah, in issue 2, it's he's not technically in it, even though his presence is felt throughout the entire thing.
Mm.
And it actually showed to me. It actually showed
Cool.
the concept. It shows a different side of Doctor Doom.
Okay.
She's loved the first 2 issues of Fantastic Four. I mean, she has basically devoured them. So yeah, I think
That's awesome.
you would enjoy them a lot because it's back to the adventurers. You
Yeah.
know, it's not where the galaxy's being destroyed every 30 seconds and we got to do something. They're back to living their lives and being adventurers and a family again. So,
Yeah.
and that's
And I
been
think
really
that's
cool
some of
about
the best storytelling with those characters too. I mean, that was hell. That was one of the big things that people bought into the Fantastic Four about, because it was first time you're seeing human side of superheroes and seeing
Yeah.
that they live regular lives. You know, they have to pay rent and you know, they have fights and they have issues and stuff like real people. So I always thought that was a real cool aspect to the early Silver Age storytelling too. So that'd be cool. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide what I want to do. I want to read all Daredevil from the very beginning, and then where I go after that, I hadn't decided. It might be Fantastic Four. I'm not doing like Nick. I'm not reading 18,000 issues of Spider-Man. That's just not happening because I know how bad it gets, and I'm just I'm not setting myself up for that.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know that I'll read every issue of Fantastic Four either. You know, I at least want to get to the first. I want to get through the first 100 issues for sure. And then after that, I may just kind of explore, you know, what were some of the best stories or best issues and jumping on and off points and stuff like that. But I definitely have enjoyed being able to just take in the history of the original Marvel's first family and the comic books that saved Marvel, you know.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah,
been
it's
real cool.
for those of y'all that really don't understand what we're talking about, the Marvel Unlimited app, you can get the app and actually read some of those books that came out in the 60s. They have the entire Fantastic Four, entire Daredevil, Amazing Spider-Man. So, I mean, to me, nothing will ever replace holding an actual comic book in your hand or an actual book. But at the same time, if I ever, do something as blatantly stupid as go and spend $7,000 to $10,000 on a mid-grade Daredevil #1, I guarantee you I'm not going to read it.
Mm-mm.
At least with the Marvel Unlimited app, you can read those books. So that's what we're talking about when we're saying that we're reading these series.
Yeah, I used to have that feeling too, and I still wouldn't read it, but like if I were to get a Fantastic Four #1, I don't care what it looks like. #1, I'm cracking it out and I'm gonna work on it. Like I'm gonna put my hands on that book and work on it, and then I'll get it regraded and flip through it and look at it. But before I started pressing and cleaning, there ain't no way I would have done it. But now I'm just like Fantastic Four 1. I don't care what grade it is. It's a 9.0. I'm cracking it open. I want to flip through that Joker and and look at it. I want to see.
There's definitely a part of me that would be tempted to crack it open to at least hold the actual book. Yeah, that's what some of the guys that I work with, a couple of them, we were talking about it. They don't understand they don't even understand why somebody would spend $10, $15, or $20 on a comic book. But when you start talking about numbers like several thousands dollars, I'm like, guys, look, you don't understand at that point, you're buying a piece of history.
Yeah.
You're buying something that not everybody has.
Yeah. It's absolutely. I think comic books are absolutely 100% something that you consider to be a part of American history. It's it's a historical document at this point. I mean, the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Ultimates era. Yeah. I've heard that. I actually have a bunch of them because I bought a collection earlier this year. And I've got a ton of the Ultimate FF in there, so maybe I'll flip through that at some point. But yeah, I felt the same way. If you would have asked me in 2018 how I felt, what like ask Nick. First time I walked into his house and he had comic books on the wall, and I was just like, "What are you doing? Like, really, dude? Like, you go." We don't do comic books, dude. Like that's the most nerdy thing ever. Like, we play football and we play sports and lift weights and do manly things, dude. Like we do not do comic books. And now
Yeah. Fast forward a few years.
It's like I have a job interview in the morning, so and it's a virtual interview, so I've been trying to decide if I want to leave this stuff up behind me and just do like a gray wall just so there's some kind of professionalism looking, or just be like, nah, bro, I collect comic books. I got a YouTube channel. I got more money than you could imagine invested into these things that I'm not going to sell, so I don't guess they're investments. But yeah, I'm all in on it. But so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do about it or not. Do yet.
Introduce them to the real you right off the bat.
Right.
I mean, let them know what they're getting right off the bat. So I tell you what, we've actually been going for about an hour and a half. Why don't we go ahead and call it? Thanks for coming on and helping bail me out.
Oh yeah, man.
So, wait a minute. Josh likes doing this toward the end. I feel like we've had a good discussion about 2022. We'll have an even better discussion about 2023 later on down the road. We'll get everybody back on. Where is that one video that Josh? Oh, there it is. All right, y'all have a good night. We'll talk to y'all later.